Hello and welcome back again. This is Ms. Bushra with you, and we're back again for our second lesson in chapter 2. Remember, the most important part of this start of the chapter is learning about the anatomy of the heart. If you mastered that, then we can start today's lesson, which is about the valves and how the heart is, circulating the blood. So the first thing I want you to do is look at this page. This is right after the first page of the anatomy, and then I have like a whole space for you to draw your own drawing like I did. And then there is the definitions of every part that we studied, like the pericardium, which is a membrane reducing the friction, the septum that separates the heart into two sides, and of course atria, ventricle, the chambers. Valves is today's lesson. We're gonna start here. Another thing here, there are like some concepts where they talk about what if there's a problem of that part. For instance, if there is a hole in the septum, which is actually a structure that separates right and left, that means the bloods are going to get mixed. Remember, a hole in septum means that the septum could not do its own work properly and the bloods are going to mix. And there it is, the definition of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. There you go, the size, which one has which. Valves. Valves are flaps of tissue. Flaps and pieces, if they are like flat and a bit thin, we call flaps. They are the tissue, and they also do something for us. They make sure that the blood only moves in one direction and doesn't come back. That's what we call it, prevent blood from flowing back. So, general rule, valves are for preventing blood from flowing back. That's the first thing. But we have types. And the valves that are located within the heart are of two types. The first one called atrioventricular valve. Atrio means atria, the chamber atria. Ventricle, chamber, ventricle, valve. That means that we can find it between the chambers. Let's look at it. I prepared a drawing beforehand. There you go. Atrioventricular valve. According to the description, I should find it between both of them. So this is atria, and this is the connection between atria and ventricle. The valve is located here. Okay? And there is a special tissue tendon that is keeping it to the wall like that. So this is valve. Let's write it down. However, we have two atria and two ventricle. That means we have two of these. There we go. This is also valve. What type of valve? Atrioventricular valves. According to their location, we named it that way. Again, atrioventricular valve. That we're good. However, of course, like everything else, if we have the left and the right, we have left atrioventricular valve and right atrioventricular valve. However, they have their own name too. We can use that. The name of atrioventricular valve that is located on the right side, we name it tricuspid. Tricuspid because it's made of three flaps. Remember, we said it's made of flaps of tissue. So three flaps creating it, tri comes from that, tricuspid. And it's on which side? The right side. However, on the left side, this one doesn't have three flaps. It has only two flaps. So we will name it bicuspid. Bicuspid has another name because the first time when they, look at it, they saw like it has two flaps like that, and it looks like a bishop's hat. So they call it mitral valve because the hat type called mitra and they named it this way. You can like search it up if you want to. So we have three names here. Left atrioventricular valve, also called bicuspid, also called mitral valve. We're good. So imagine this. When the atria squeeze and send blood here, they open up. But when the ventricles squeeze trying to send it to the arteries, they are going to close up. Their work is opening and closing, opening and closing. They open in one way, they don't open on the other side. Just like door. You can open it this way, but if somebody else pull it on the other side, they can't open it. Okay? Remember, when the ventricles squeeze, they close. We're going to need that later on, but for now, it's important to know where they're located and what's their name. We're good. However, we have another set called semilunar. Semilunar means half, luna means moon. So half moon. That's because their shape is crescent and it looks like half a moon like this. They're like smaller. Let's go back to our drawing. There we go. Oh, there we go. Our drawing says here that they are located between the ventricles and the artery. Artery as a vessel, okay? Here. There we go. These are semilunar. What is this? Semilunar valve on the right side. Again, this one. Semilunar valve on the left side. Perfect. They also have their own name. How do we name them? Which artery they're located at, we're gonna name them based on that. So this one is at the base of aorta. This is aorta, and this is pulmonary artery. So the one located on aorta, because aorta is connected to the left ventricle, it's on the left side, we call it aortic or aortic valve. And the one located at the base of the pulmonary artery, we're just going to call it pulmonary valve. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There is nothing hard about it. Just remember, we have two sets. Each are two. Each side have one, okay? We have a atrioventricular valve set number 1 made of 2, okay? It's a pair. And then we have set number 2, which is semilunar. Semilunar are at the base of the arteries, while the atrioventricular valves, also for short, we're calling them, for short, we call these AV valves, and these are SL valves. Oh, both sides, doesn't matter, just for short. Okay, so the AVs are between the chambers, while the SLs are at the base of the arteries. How many are there? 4. How many types? 2. The side of the right side, we have pulmonary valve and the tricuspid valve, while on the left side we have bicuspid valve, and we also have the aortic valve. They prevent backflow of the blood according to where they're located. For instance, if we talk about the tricuspid, we're going to say it prevents the backflow of the deoxygenated blood from the ventricle back to the right atria. Actually, you should name which ventricle, the right ventricle to the right atria. And if I'm talking about the aortic valve, I'm going to say it prevents the backflow of the blood. Which blood? It's oxygenated, because we now know the name of it, from aorta back to the left ventricle. That's how you do it. We're done. This is the valves. Please try to memorize their location and where they are at the anatomical part. You can draw it by imagination from memory if you want to do it again and to practice. Or else you can download any unlabeled part in the internet and try to do it yourself. This is the anatomy of the heart. It's perfect. There we go. We have everything described here. These are the between the chambers, so they are the atrioventricular valve, while these are at the base of the two arteries, we are calling it semilunar. The functions and their locations are all created here. However, some of them have these right next to them. You're going to learn it in the next parts. Another thing we should know is that during ventricular contraction, means ventricle contracting, the lower chamber squeezing, the AV valves close. Tricuspid and bicuspid both close. By the way, tricuspid and bicuspid both close at the same time, both open at the same time. Same for semilunar, both open at the same time, both closes at the same time. So here during ventricle, when they relax, these two are going to get closed instead. Why? Because if the ventricles relax, they're going to withdraw blood and get filled, and we don't want the one from the arteries to come back. Yeah, we want it from the atria, the chambers, smaller chambers, to bring blood, not the artery, because we want these to go to the body. So they have to close the semilunar. Good. That's it. You can memorize them, and there's like some descriptions about what is on the left side, what is on the right. Remember, we have deoxygenated blood, tricuspid pulmonary, deoxygenated, you continue, have high CO2, low O2, and the blood appears to be blue. However, blood in reality is not blue. You might say, oh, miss, what about our veins? It appears to be greenish, bluish, purplish. That is because the eye, the reflection and the undertone of your skin creates that illusion. Or else you can search it up, write down the vein and artery blood. You will see vein have CO2 in it, which makes it darker, way darker shade, like a maroon shade. But in the artery, it's full of oxygen and it appears to be much lighter shade of the red, okay, brighter shade actually. There you go. It says in reality it's these two. There is no blue in this situation. We do it as a color code for you to separate between the types of the blood, oxygenated from deoxygenated. We're done with this part, and now we're at the flowing, which side is taking blood to which side. Remember, we don't have a specific site that we're going to start at because it's a circle. Any point you come back to it, that's fine. But here, it starts from vena cava. And remember, we have two vena cava, the superior and the inferior. This is the superior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. Just so that you know. Maybe this picture will come and they say which one is which. Let's have a color that I can use it. This is superior, inferior. They have deoxygenated blood. Of course, veins are going to take it back towards the heart. One of the things that you can find out which one is vein, which one is artery, if there's the arrow. Arrow towards the heart, this is a vein. Arrow away from the heart, this is artery. How do you see? There you go. They bring it to the right atrium. Right atrium pumps it and give it to the right ventricle, passing through the tricuspid valve. And then, of course, the lower part is going to squeeze and take it up into the arteries like that. It came here and then it goes this way, passing through these two. Do you see these two? These are the pulmonary valve. So it goes to the pulmonary artery, then the pulmonary artery becomes two sides, each goes to a lung. This is for left lung, this is for right lung, just like how we separated the sides. And then the lungs are going to work on them, bringing more oxygen to them, taking away the CO2. Once the blood is clean, we have to bring it back to the heart so that the heart pushes it to the body. How do we bring it back? Through four. How many did I say? Four. Four veins. That's one, that's two. There is another one here. Supposedly there's supposed to be another one here. Each one of them, these are the openings of them, drains back, okay, all the oxygenated blood back to this side, the left atria, and then it gives it to the left ventricle. Left ventricle pushes, okay? I say pushes, but that's not correct. We should say pump. Pumps it to where? To the aorta. And aorta is going to branch off into multiple arteries that goes to every part of the body actually. Okay, and the cycle begins again since the vena cava brought it from the body, aorta took it to the body, and then it comes back to vena cava again, and it's repeating. Let's check this out. I did this graph for you. If we started vena cava, like the drawing, it goes to right atrium and then right ventricle, like that. See? Just like that. You can like label it until we come back to the body. However, I want you, just like a homework, to find out where is each valve is located. Draw a line like that and say, oh, it's here or it's here. That's not supposed to be one of them. I just did it. Find out between which two places we can find about the whereabouts of the valves. Okay, here, you decided. Everything I just explained it's here in a text. So we have a drawing, we have a graph, and now we have a text. Here it says the left ventricle is the thickest chamber of the heart. I want you to know something, that atria are thinnest. You can write it, okay? Atria, thinnest, both of them, okay? And then you have right ventricle, which is thick, but the left ventricle is 3 times as thick as the right one. So it's the thickest. Why? Because write this as a note, okay? Because the thicker the chamber, the more pressure it creates. And with more pressure, it sends it to further areas. And the body, you have head, you have arms, you have legs, you have other organs. In order for the left side to send it to the whole body, we need a thick chamber that's going to create enough pressure to push the blood throughout all these places. Got it? Write everything I said as a note for yourself, because there will be questions regarding that. Of course, I left you with something to label so that you can practice on it. Each valve, each chamber, each vessel that we've learned, and any other part, you label it here and practice on it. Okay, we did great until now. Try to master what we learned about the anatomy and then the blood flow. Then we're coming here. If you didn't study until now, please pause the video and study, then come back. So what we need to learn here is that heart beating is something independent from the brain work. Heart beats by its own work. What's that supposed to mean, Ms. Bushra? It's because heart has 2 specialized areas that are made of cardiac cells, but they are specialized. It's not color differences like that if you open a heart and you want to see. No. It's just color coded here. You see there's 2 areas. One called sinoatrial node, for short we're going to call it SA node. Node يعني gray, like some place like grjbois, okay? And then atrioventricular node. See, AV node. Okay, we had AV valve, but here AV node. See, sinoatrial node creates electricity. Oh, we said that this is specialized for neurons, but actually, apparently, we have special areas in the heart that can create their own electricity. That's why even if the brain is dead, the heart doesn't stop sometimes. It wonders. So what I want you to know is that initiation of this electrical impulse means the start of that starts with sinoatrial node. There you go. So this starts it all. And then it says it goes to another area called the atrioventricular node, which is here. Sinoatrial node is located in the right atria, while how we describe the AV is not the same. We're going to say it's in the septum between both atria. It's on top of the ventricle, it's not below it. So in the septum between both atria, we have atrioventricular valve, while in the right atrium, we have SA. Let's see. The electricity comes out here and reaches the walls of the atria. And it reaches which area? The AV node. AV node relays. Relays means passing it on. To what? To the muscles of the ventricles. So that means the one in control is actually SA. SA gives it to the AV. AV is the one sending it through these. You see these, yellow things here, and gives it to the entire heart like that. Why electricity? Because these electrical impulse causes contraction in the chambers and causes the blood to pass through the next part, and this is how the blood is pumped, and this is how the heart is working and beating. It's because of this. Tamam? Good. Remember, sinoatrial created the electricity and starts the whole process. SA just got it from sinoatrial and then gave it to the ventricles. Why? Why there's two of them if the one starts it is SA? It's because the ventricles need to be delayed in the contraction by a fraction of a second from atria. So atria needs to contract first, and then the ventricles need to contract second. They have to have a difference in the timing. Who's going to create that difference? Is the atrioventricular node. There you go. It relays it and it delays it by a fraction of a second. So we have the definitions and the locations here. Sinoatrial node, its location is in the right atrium. It is going to regulate. Regulation means the start and everything. It's in control of the entire heart. It's also known as pacemaker. The SA is known as a pacemaker. There's two names for it. All right? Why it's called pacemaker? It's because it's the one in control. Then how sinoatrial works, like we said, it spontaneously initiates. Spontaneously means independently by itself, okay? And the impulses last about 0.8 seconds. It creates a cycle of 0.8 seconds, 0.8 seconds. If you divide 60 minutes by 0.8 seconds, it will be about 70 to 75 beats, which is the normal heartbeat in the humans. It's because it's not a complete minute, it's 0.8 seconds. So it sends it to the wall of the atria, and then the atrioventricular is going to give it to the rest of the body of the heart, which is both ventricles. So here it is. This one is for delaying it. Where is it located? Between the two atria. Remember, some people have problems with these electrical impulses in their heart, and they will put a battery in there. So the battery could be put for the sinoatrial or the AV. It's fine. We call them artificial pacemakers, okay? And this is it about the heartbeat. It's so easy. You can practice it. Write the notes I told you about, and you're going to do great. This was the end of our second lesson, and have a nice day.